Watching closely the buildup of Russian troops on Ukraine's border, the United States has been preparing diligently in close consultation with our partners and allies options based upon the path Russia chooses to take in the weeks ahead. It remains our goal to find a diplomatic way forward and avert conflict, and President Biden has instructed our diplomats to work intensively and pragmatically, including here in New York, to determine whether that is possible. This week, we're having an intensive series of meetings with Russia in Geneva at the NATO-Russia Council and the OSCE Permanent Council. As Deputy Secretary Sherman reiterated today in Geneva, we welcome genuine progress on the matters at hand, but that can only happen within the context of de-escalation. If Russia chooses the path of conflict, the United States, our partners and allies have been clear. We are prepared to impose enormous costs on Russia's economy, reinforce NATO's presence in frontline allied states, and increase our defensive assistance to Ukraine. Given the stakes for global peace and security over the past week, I have met with other members of the Security Council and key counterparts here in New York. We remain in particularly close touch with our European allies and partners who are understandably concerned about this buildup. In the days ahead, the United States will continue to make every effort toward de-escalation, dialogue, and diplomatic resolution to this situation. But as Deputy Secretary Sherman said today, and our allies and partners have echoed, it is on Russia to take.
Не надо снимать, пока не выгнали. А? Наш, говорю, идет, нет? Снимать, пока не...
between Russia and the West. Today, Secretary of State Blinken reaffirming U.S. support for Ukraine's sovereignty in the face of increasing Russian threats. Kiev under cyber attack. Government sites hit with malware as video purports to show even more Russian forces heading to the border. Here's ABC's White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks.
Tonight, newly released video showing Ukrainian troops training on their eastern border on high alert. U.S. officials warn the Russian military is in position to move quickly and potentially invade if Putin says the word. With more than 100,000 troops already amassing at the border, this unverified social media video examined by independent researchers seeming to show Russia moving even more troops and heavy equipment west. And the Biden administration believes Russian operatives are already inside Ukraine and could soon be planning to stage an incident, a so-called false flag operation that Putin would then use as a pretext for invasion. Adding to the escalating tension, cyber attacks on Ukrainian websites. Microsoft flagging destructive malware in systems belonging to several Ukrainian government agencies and organizations that work closely with the Ukrainian government.
If it turns out that Russia is pummeling Ukraine with cyber attacks, and if that continues over the period ahead, we will work with our allies on the appropriate response.
The White House says they will be ready with heavy-hitting sanctions. But in a recent interview, the Kremlin spokesperson seeming to brush that threat aside.
We would like just to ask people in Washington, can you recall any example of a situation when sanctions helped you to solve a problem?
Lindsay, the White House tells me that they are continuing to make overtures to the Russians to try to get them to keep negotiating, but it is noticeable that no new meetings have been announced. And in that interview, the Kremlin spokesperson had this ominous warning. He said he thought that Russia and the West were on totally different tracks and that was not good and disturbing.
The United States aids Ukraine and her people so that we can fight Russia over there and we don't have to fight Russia here. So that we can fight Russia over there and we don't have to fight Russia here.